Hello and welcome to Planet Hope, the magazine that follows the progress made towards the UN's Millennium Development Goals. Well, this week we head to Burkina Faso, the largest producer of cotton in sub-Saharan Africa. Well, here there are two main types of the plant, the conventional one, then there's the genetically modified version, which the country began using in 2008. The main cotton producing company there, Sofitex, has made an agreement with the American giant Monsanto to develop this GM seed. Now, some farmers who've used it say that it's been a big success that provides a larger crop needing less amount of work. But there are others who say it's an expensive mistake. Our reporters Pauline Godard and Julien Sauvaget have more.
You reap what you sow, so choosing the seeds proves a hot topic here in Burkina Faso. From one village to another, opinions are divided over which grain to grow. The conventional crop or genetically modified variety called BT cotton.
There is no advantage. We have been in debt twice because of GM crops.
The GM cotton has advantages. Last year we cultivated 4 hectares with a yield of 9 tons.
In Zulu, in the southeast of the country, these women have already made their choice. Under the sweltering sun, they're planting small blue seeds, genetically modified cotton. Touriser has picked to plant the GM variety for 3 years already, and she has no intention of going back.
It's easier to sow, so we can get the work done faster. GM means we need to sow less seeds and it grows quicker. And when we harvest the cotton, it's heavier. So there are reasons why the GM cotton is better than the conventional seeds.
Here in this village with rich, fertile soil, everyone agrees.
There are many advantages to GM cotton. When we cultivate conventional cotton, it requires a lot of attention and treatment, and so it's very tiring. With the new seeds, you only have to treat the crop twice.
As opposed to 6 treatments with the regular seeds. This is the main selling point of GM cotton created by Monsanto. Less time spent in the fields, less need for pesticides, meaning savings for the grower. Sofitex, a partner of Monsanto and the biggest cotton company in Burkina Faso, likes to highlight these arguments. It's Sofitex that provides the fertilizer and the seeds.
In its origin, the BT cotton was devised to protect the crop from caterpillars. The caterpillars that would attack the buds and the leaves. The idea was not to increase output, but there were side effects. Because the seed is protected from caterpillars, it is fertilized and can follow its natural process, meaning that the crop is automatically bigger.
The idea then is that the farmer will be able to reimburse Sofitex for the seeds and fertilizer bought on credit. For Some, who has 5 hectares of cotton fields, it's a system that has brought in good yields.
Last year I cultivated cotton and made a profit. That's why this year I'm going to stick to using GM cotton.
The only downside, Some says, is that the grain is expensive, costing the equivalent of €41 per hectare annually. A sizable sum in a country where half the population lives on less than €1 a day. After 9 hours toiling in the fields, Some goes back to his 3 wives and 12 children. To feed his family, he knows money has to grow in his fields. Something he says he has seen since switching to GM crops.
I lost money in conventional cotton. I grew it twice and I didn't make ends meet. I had to borrow money to pay the bills. Then I tried BT cotton and that worked.
More than feeding his family, Some has been able to buy this motorbike with cotton funds. He's also been able to send his 4 youngest children to school, an increase in income enjoyed by many in the region.
I don't want them to need anything. If I'm not there, they'll be left. You work for tomorrow, not for today. In any case, I don't care I'm not tired. I am using today to build for tomorrow, for my kids, so that they don't have to work themselves to death like me.
For his second wife, Somda, the monetary gain is one thing, but she also notes the time factor.
With GM cotton, I don't have to keep going back into the fields to pull up any weeds. I just go back to add some fertiliser.
Today, all are convinced, but back in 2008, when it was first introduced, there were more than a few raised eyebrows here.
In the beginning, people were worried, both from producers and even technicians, because it was new technology, and there was a lot of contradictory information. And so caution was necessary with such a new technology. If even with the precautions put in place, the producer or the final user of this technology did not want it, we were not going to force them to adopt it.
The genetic modification cannot be seen to the naked eye when looking at the final product. The cotton still comes from a seed local to Burkina Faso. But this seed is impregnated with an American gene, an addition checked for here in this laboratory.
Monsanto, which provided the seeds, the technology, told us that the seeds were enriched with 2 proteins. Proteins that would fight off insects, as it's written here on the bag. Our job is to confirm the presence of this protein, because we're the only ones making the seed. It's our technology that's being used.
The seeds are coloured blue to help locals distinguish them from the conventional variety. The genetically modified seeds need to be handled with care. The bags are marked with very clear warning signs.
You see there, the skull and bones, that's getting the farmers' attention. And they know that the produce inside the bag is not for consumption, but has to be used with precaution.
Signs that the seeds could be dangerous, but that's something Monsanto doesn't want to talk about. Others, however, do want to tell us about the downsides they see to the GM crop. In the village of Datomo, many have tried the BT cotton, but to no avail. In this less fertile land, it seems the seeds just don't want to grow. Their failure fueling the fight against them. Ousmane de Tiandre Beogo has set up an agricultural trade union to try and spread the word about the potential danger he sees in the crop.
We're fighting for an end to projects that will just leave poor people worse off. The GM crops need to be stopped. These crops aren't being sent here to help us develop. This program hasn't been put in place with our best interests in mind. And we feel that it's not a choice our political leaders give us, but an obligation.
Ousmane wants farmers to be free to choose what they want to sow. The majority of these villagers are cotton growers. In the beginning, they believed the GM crop could help, but their trial here was an error. Rather than harvesting a larger yield, farmers are finding themselves going deeper into debt, owing money to the supplier of what was for them a bad seed.
How can you explain that every year you grow cotton, you have to take something from your house and go and sell it? Work is supposed to give you something, not take it away.
Cotton attracts you. When you start working with it, you see hope. You think things will start looking up for you, but instead it takes your cart and your cattle. You lose everything to it, so I just stopped.
We don't have a choice. What do you expect us to do? They've started handing out seeds because the rains began. We have to take them. We don't have any choice.
All my family is suffering. I work, but I can't make ends meet. When you cultivate cotton and you don't have any money at the end of the year, it's always the same problem.
In any case, the GM crops will force us from our fields.
Here, everyone agrees the modified cotton has brought them nothing good. But already in death, many now have no choice but to accept the seeds supplied by Sofitex. Such is the situation for GNANOU Mamadou. He started growing BT cotton in 2009 and from the very first year found himself in debt, having to sell a goat to get by.
I fell into the trap. It didn't work. The problem is, I don't have the funds now. If I could, I would get out of this business. I could grow peas, soya, peanuts, millet seeds. But I have no choice now but to cultivate the modified cotton.
This year, he's going to sow 2 hectares of it. His hope being that he will finally see a harvest to allow him feed his family at least. Genetically modified cotton, a crop also covering fields in South Africa, Egypt and Kenya, opted for by all in the bid to reduce poverty.
Well, that's it for this edition of Planet Hope. Do check our website at francevingt4 for more news and headlines. You've got that in English, French and Arabic. Well, thank you for watching and do stay tuned to France 24.